Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Monday, January 9th. Everybody's back at work, including the Arkansas legislature. There was the ceremonial beginning of another regular session of the legislature today. Probably the biggest event was the re-election of Jeremy Gillam as Speaker of the State House of Representatives. He's only the fifth person elected to a second term in this office. It used to traditionally pass to a different person every 2 years. That's changed now. He gave a short speech. He urged civility, collaboration, and cooperation among members and respect. He didn't use the words bipartisanship or use political party words at all, but he said, you shouldn't ignore good ideas from other people just because they're people you might disagree with on other issues. Good idea. He perhaps demonstrated that in his appointments of committee chairman. Among those named to committee chairmanships were two people who used to be Democrats who recently switched to the Republican Party. Joe Jett will head Revenue and Taxation, and Jeff Wardlaw will lead the Public Health Committee. The Speaker also made a tribute to institutional memory. He's a fan of the loosening of term limits that came from a 2014 amendment. He thinks greater knowledge will produce better legislation. Perhaps so. There may even be a reminder of that in recent events. It's a good time for me to give praise to Karen Hopper. She was a Republican state representative from Mountain Home. She was term limited in 2014, just before the extension passed. It was her work that led to a very important audit of the Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District, which had misspent money, it failed to follow rules, and otherwise unaccounted for tens of thousands of dollars in state taxpayer money, a lot of it that came from the legislature and the so-called General Improvement Fund, the state surplus. That audit led to a change in leadership there, and it led, I believe, directly last week to a guilty plea in a federal kickback case by a former state representative and the implication of at least one other legislator. She quietly did good work, didn't get praised for it at the time. I'm going to praise that Republican legislator for it today. She did good work. Asa Hutchinson will speak to the legislature tomorrow. MetroPlan, the planning agency that helps governments in central Arkansas, released its economic report for the year. It says that growth is slow but steady in this region. Manufacturing is outpacing the country. Construction's down a little bit, but this was interesting. It says the Little Rock metropolitan area has a greater percentage of people working in the cybersecurity field than any other metropolitan area in the country, and it has something like 9 times the national average of people working in this field in a time where Russia is hacking into our political system. Maybe we can become the capital of cybersecurity. There's some startups here in that area. MetroPlan sees potentially some economic development in that region. Elsewhere, there was a story today about one thing that's going to come up at the legislature this year, and that's the Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department wants to change its name and become the Department of Transportation, like agencies of its sort in other states around the country. Well, it's kind of funny because transportation isn't exactly the Highway Department's strong suit. They'd be better known, some think, as the Department of Cars and Trucks. Buses, railroads, bicycles, people on foot, they don't get much consideration at the Highway Department. But if the Department of Transportation they are to be, maybe that will make them broaden their view on other modes of transportation in the future. We could hope so. Let's see, what else do we have today? There was the first homicide of the year in Little Rock last night. A man was shot down in the street around 33rd and Martin Luther King. Several houses in the region were also shot up. There hadn't yet been anybody charged with the shooting of the fatal shooting, but some people were in custody on perhaps related charges. What were you doing at 5 o'clock this morning? Donald Trump was up early tweeting his unhappiness at being criticized by Meryl Streep at the Golden Globe Award the night before. She's a washed-up actress, he says. What does she know about anything? The president doesn't have anything else on his mind besides worrying about what Hollywood movie stars say about him in award ceremonies, I guess, everything else being taken care of. And I do want to note that over the weekend, a Russian propaganda agency that masquerades as a news organization used Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, to be the lead spokesman for making the case that Russia did not interfere in the U.S. elections. Mike Huckabee, Donald Trump, and others trust Russians more than they trust the U.S. intelligence agencies. And there you go. It's time for Glasnost, I guess. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.